just move on and watch and pray. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. CCL is back. Now, I know, fellow, and I know Binks promised you guys a 10-minute break. We were a little bit longer, but I have good news. That's another match in our hands. I'm Brian. He's Reese. And it's so good to be back.
It's been a little bit since we've done CCL, but I'm glad to be back here in the Canada competition for another season. Starting off here with the second match of our Group A opening day, we've got Mystic, a team that I think is poised to probably top their group if Achieve Esports, my own team, were not in the way.
Oh, whoa, you're throwing some shade and some salt here already. Well, unfortunately, you didn't have the best showing today, but enough about you. Let's actually talk about our teams, and let's bring up our roster representatives.
All right, let's get into it. I have a great thing going here because not only do my current team that I coach play in this group, but a former teammate of mine in Baron is here on the Team Mystic Academy roster. Baron is a really solid leader. He's a good, strong guy with a smart head on his shoulders, and he's put together quite a capable roster. Spy, Candle, and Cryptix are three players who have a lot of experience. Aggro was in the last season as well. Chief, tell me a little bit about Sonic Boom, though.
So it's Shikaru, Zach, AR, Hixer, and Cheat. And while I'm not that familiar with them, I will say that their opponents today, Mystic Academy, they've been playing in a lot of other amateur tournaments, and they are looking solid. So to echo what you're saying about the Baron Supremacy roster, it could certainly go that direction, my friend.
Yeah, and for on that Sonic Boom roster, there is one player I recognize. That's Hixer, who played on Valor's, the team that actually won the inaugural season of CCL. He was teaming with Badger, who's now on Achieve, and I really look forward to seeing those two teams when they come to face each other. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first map. First, my predictions, I'm leaning towards Team Mystic Academy. I think they've got a fair shot to close it out, maybe even in only 2 maps tonight.
And while we start to dive into map number 1, it's going to be Chalet, followed by Oregon and Villa. And I'm glad that we're seeing at least a spicier map to start things off, Reese. But from there, it's going to go to the tried and true tested. And one of the tested bands here on Chalet, well, that is Flores, for the ability just to rip apart those deployable shields. They drive past all the Jaeger ADSs with my pancakes with not a care in the world.
Both of these teams also coming out of the same qualifier as well, though sadly, neither of them ended up facing each other. Mystic made it out through the top bracket, never losing in that qual, while Sonic Boom did get dispatched and sent to the LB, eventually prevailing to make it into this group. Flores gone, their stature as well, and I totally agree with what you're saying. Yeah, I do not want to be around when those Roteros are going off because the amount of cut down they really apply to the utility defenders, it's hard to stand against Flores.
And the same thing stands for the Valkyrie ban, right? I mean, when you're being yellow pinged and you don't know as an attacker, all of a sudden you get jiggle peeked around a door frame, and information is always king for the defender. So a wise ban to see there. And, you know, we're talking about how powerful Flores is. One of the reasons is because Mai is sometimes on the board. Again, he can drive past that utility, but Mai is going to find themselves relegated over to the rubbish bin.
It's one of those good equalizers, right? You got Flores, he's removed, won't be worrying about the drones, but then you take out Wamai as well, so it's like yin and yang. No Flores 4 drones rolling in, blowing things up for the offense, but at the same time, you don't have an overwhelming amount of nade denial with the Wamai. I think this is setting ourselves up for a fairly even defender-attacker game, when in reality, we know generally Chalet does lean a little bit towards the attack.
And we're just going to let those statistics go to rest today. We're going to start on a brand new clean slate today, Reese, because it's CCL, it's week number 1, it's only the first play day, and just because, you know, it is one way in Pro League doesn't always mean it's going to go the other direction in amateur. Now, I love Mira in plant, man. Like, imagine you're the attacker, you're challenging, you're trying to go for your primary plant over to the south of the bomb sign, and all of a sudden, we're talking about how information is king, while you have one of the defenders behind that mirror window ripping the Nitro Cell downtown.
Well, Chief, I always love to give some support to the staff members, and I've got to do that for Mystic Academy, who have Yali as their coach, as well as Repo on the analyst position. Yali is a person I've had a lot of opportunities to talk with. They're very knowledgeable about Siege. They're a caster as well, coming up just like you and I, so they've got that caster's look into how it is to play Rainbow Six Siege in the current meta. And being that they've got 2 members on the support staff, that kind of gives you an opportunity to be a little bit better prepared.
And we've seen Yali's genius coaching with Mystic Academy in DAL League. They have been leveraging a lot of vertical play, bucking from the basement all the way up to Master. Now that's going to be a time and a few rounds down the road because it's currently the Mystic defense, but we've seen ingenuity out of their coaching staff, and I'm eager to see what the defense is going to be bringing out.
Looks like library over, at least from what we've got so far. Offense looking to clear what might be a slight horizontal roam. No sign of defenders stopping them just yet, and they're allowed to march on forward. The sledge taking damage from who knows where. Probably was, maybe that's the Mira or even through the floor. Hard to tell so early on, but the offense not suffering any flat-out casualties as they march on over west to east.
And during that process, you're going to have to start to remove utility. Hixer's going to be more than happy to do so with a nade, and it seems like there's some awkward engagements taking place for Mystic Academy, Reese, where they find themselves at a man disadvantage. I mean, they just instantaneously evaporated away, and that west overtake, as you were mentioning, is starting to look quite good for Sonic Boom, especially when they're starting to remove the power positions of the mirror window. Now, with Candle's trade, sure, it's going to be 3-3, but with so much time left on the clock, it can go either direction.
I suppose the one saving grace here is that you've lost a little bit of that extra ranged potential out of your soft destructor Sledge and Zoe. Baron gone though, no C4 from him, and Cryptic still holds out on one explosive, which he may use in a possibility that Traken comes in on the plant. And that looks like the Ace's next step. However, they are a little bit cautious, knowing that they've got that soft wall and that line of sight coming in from the piano. Candle pops up on a Hixer, drops the man count. Man advantage now for Mystic Academy. Traken realizes it's probably going to be plant situation time as he sort of steps on in. You've got Shpai, though, just waiting inside piano. This one going to be a game of utility. And Cryptics with C4 in hand. The toss is over, but the explosive no good. And the ace completes the plant. Now pile on a kill from the Twitch and a DBNO on the player inside piano.
So in a roller coaster of a round, and the roller coaster is going to find itself at the peak. AR versus Candle, and there is once again information at play. Candle's going to have the audio cue of the down, but they also have the information of the player behind the reinforcement, and Candle makes it look easy. Confirm your final kill, why don't you? Or at least pick up your teammate, maybe get some extra points there, but Mystic Academy, they find the roller coaster with a victory underneath their belt.
And despite conceding that far side of the map on the second floor as well, they didn't need to hold extended. I think that's largely to do with the fact that they had the Miras, they were comfortable in their setup. This is obviously a strategy that they've prepped, they've come into, and they are strong enough to win it out on the first interpretation. That saying, the strat wasn't perfect. You know what helped them out a lot, though, Chief? It was Candle, playing that long angle, using the 1.5x optic to hold down the main breach to stop Sonic Boom and really cause the offense to grind into a halt.
I mean, you started off the broadcast by saying Baron has assembled a God Stack plus Candle as the final cherry on top. Demonstrated in round number 1, but I wonder how many more times we're going to be able to see Candle go nuclear and clutch like that. It's not something that we can see every single day, and now that we're going over to what a lot of people consider their primary bomb site downstairs in the bar, it's going to be less about the raw gun skill of Candle and company, and more about the precious utility, especially with the lack of Wamai currently being banned.
There will be a question under the offense's ability to coordinate, and that's the same for the defense as well. It always is on this top floor, and a little bit more so than in the previous round will come into effect the fact that you don't have Flores and you don't have Wamai here. However, I think that's a good sign for Mystic that they were the ones to ban those two operators. They're coming into this match. This is almost like the situation where you're banning Thatcher, you've practiced with him not being available. You know what the secondary situation is going to be like when those operators are not on the field.
Oh, you know what I call it? I love to call it the Mira fallacy, and now not quite relevant today because Mira's in play, and she was being used in round number 1, but it's, again, the Mira fallacy, as I love to call it, is when an operator is in the game and they're not being played. Because if you're not scrimming with an operator, well, of course, you're not going to be playing with that operator. Now, what you should be playing, though, with Reese are those things that you drive around the map, called drones, because Spy would have no idea that they were being pressured, or they wouldn't be able to get that free kill, because you'd have information to be able to pressure that roamer. Unfortunately, though, a slight mistake made by Sonic Boom.
And unfortunately, that veteran player from last season finds himself deceased along with all of his utility. It's not helpful to lose your nades player as the opening death on this site especially, because that means more work that the rest of the team has to do in making up for the deployables that you've got from Baron and Candle, combined with the extra pressure that everybody else has, because now Sledge is like, I really can't die. If I go down, the whole thing is bungled. I'm not going to be able to do anything. It puts a lot of extra weight on the shoulders of this roster, and the fact that we don't really see them forming up yet, and there's only 90 seconds left, is starting to worry me a bit.
Yeah, Reese, where are we? I mean, we're stuck in piano, which is a good place to be, but what about the utility usage? When are we going to start burning the ADSs? We have no flashbangs on the table, so you're going to have to start to subsidize with something else. Sure, you could use the Zofia Stunlock, sure, you can use those smoke grenades, or you can go with Plan C. Just drive the Twitch drone down range and remove that utility! Oh boy, Zach is smoked there, and, well, things are starting to look once again grim for Sonic Boom, because how's the diffuser carrier? And there's Candle. We talked about gun skill maybe not being as relevant here in round 2. I think I misspoke earlier, my friend.
Yeah, we'll talk about a best-case scenario for this top-floor hold. Doesn't look like the offense are really going to be able to get past it, and the fact that the Sledge is dead means any value of clearing that top floor in transitioning to a vertical game is going to be relatively gone. Still is one up above here. It's the Twitch who's frightened to even cross that threshold out of piano. A rappel will unfortunately give away the position of Zoe, now out from the library balcony, hoping that she might clear this out. You've got 20 seconds and you're still not even adjacent to the bomb site. Down goes Arctix, as teammate not able to bail out the scenario, but with a nice shot, at least adding to the montage there. Unfortunately, it's not going to be anything more than that, and a second round builds for Mystic.
It's too early to call it as such, but it's starting to go a little bit towards the Gun Go Burr Avenue. Sonic Boom just simply failed at their droning, and then they also stumbled just a bit with their utility usage. I love that they're bringing out Twitch to bypass the traditional utility burn. Excellent job of destroying the ADSs, but what about the actual follow-up? What about actually removing the player behind the deployable shield, pinning them down so they're not comfortable springing into action? Sonic Boom was demonstrating that they understand Chalet, but Reese, they're just making very small errors that Mystic Academy was able to rip open wide.
And when you've got a team that's practiced like this, that's seen a couple different variations on how teams are going to attack their default strats, you get that. You get the, oh, you know, last week on Monday, I saw that. I saw when that player sort of overexposed themselves on the early game. When they lost their grenades, that team in scrims couldn't react, and neither could Sonic Boom there in that hypothetical situation. Unfortunately, that's not really going to fly on Chalet. There are a couple simple minigame steps that you need to accomplish with your utility. If you fail those, the defense is going to let you funnel into those sight lines, and you're not going to be able to move past it. Mystic Academy had everything go to plan nearly there on the top floor, and are just going to continue like business as usual.
And this utility, once again, is being brought out by Mystic Academy, and it might even be more sets of utility, because we now have castles in play. Now, sure, you can just point fingers to the fact that Sonic Boom is going to be countering that with Sledge, but you're going to have to put Sledge in a lot of positions, because there are castle barricades on east windows, they're on west windows, they're on door frames, and Sledge is going to be so darn occupied with taking upstairs, trying to push into Master to swing that sledgehammer vertically to get lines of sight in the kitchen, that they're going to have a laundry list of things to do. So Sonic Boom needs to start to prioritize what is going to be the biggest evil that the defense has brought out, and how do you remove said evil?
This is, in my opinion, probably the best way to play this objective. Extend up above, use the castles to deny a lot of the sight lines, and arm yourself with mirror windows and ADSs as well. As an attacker, it is tremendously difficult to confront this scenario. What they'll do in trying to accomplish that is create an entryway through the office wall using Trekken's exothermic, but really, that's only the first step in a long and grueling campaign of objectives that you're going to need to clear before you can even say that you're in control of the top floor. The thing about this, though, is the top floor on this objective is less so really about completely clearing out all defenders. It's more about exerting control onto office and just using that to bolster your execute. As an attacker, all you need to do is stop the defenders from coming back on top of you.
Well, the mirror windows were certainly attempting to stop the attackers, but the player behind that candle has lost their life, and the deployable shield and spy's position has now been compromised. They're off the board, and while the upstairs hold looking a little bit dangerous for the Mystic Academy, Cryptix is going to find the trade back, and oh, look at this. Baron's now going to be rotating upstairs since their Nitro Cell's already been spent. It's Mystic Academy prioritizing that vertical play. They don't want to have any type of holes made above them, and they should not fear at all. Sledge is dead, and there are no flat place charges for the offense of Sonic Boom.
I think what probably makes or breaks this round for either roster is going to be this engagement that's likely to happen between the castle and the Twitch up above. If either one of those two members succeeds, their respective team is probably going to close the round. And Twitch droning through the top floor, I don't think is aware of the castle. Cryptix has actually made it past, and unfortunately, though he might have had in some ways an advantage over the Twitch, he didn't fully clear outside of office, and you can't entirely blame him for that. 25 seconds to come in on the execute, and Baron holding firm, able to drop that advantage to just a single man that Sonic Boom have over them, but Arctix quickly fires back, and a C4 tossed out from Aggro, one last bit of utility as he tries desperately to halt the push in. Only two members left, and Aggro pops up, but out of ammo in the primary, results to the revolver, and Hixer on the challenge seems to have the idea, but Hixer falls through the hatch, and he has to chase up the stairs, slowed by the barb. It's going to be a battle of inches, and Mystic Academy, what a way for them, and a great 1v3 from the Cade, even if he had a bit of support from the hatch.
That's so unfortunate, Reese. It just goes wrong for them. I was starting to put in my notes that Sonic Boom had just won that round. They had the man advantage. Mystic Academy got too aggressive upstairs. And then in a 1v3, they just get shut down by Aggro, who systematically removed Sonic Boom because they just pushed in these lopsided intervals. One flanks in from behind. Well, Aggro can just hear that, and then two just haphazardly push into the breach, and Aggro negotiates it beautifully. Again, it's just small mistakes for Sonic Booms. They've demonstrated to us that they're doing a lot of things well, but mistakes compound, and unfortunately, Sonic Boom once again is going to be overcome by their mistakes.
Yeah, just a couple things going wrong there in the end. You have to say for the Twitch, she did a fantastic job. It's tough to expect an attacker to be able to negotiate all that utility. She made it through. Nonetheless, she got 2 kills to go with it. And she even actually piled a third there when she got the Castle, who came back on that late flank. And despite the fact that a single attacker takes out 3 players and completely capitulates the vertical extension up above, a simple mistake. Just as much as falling down a hatch, just as much as leaving too little time left for the execute is going to be the thing that ultimately destroys you. 3 in a row, it's a flawless rotation, and we're back to where it all started on Office.
Pressure being established upstairs, since that's where the bomb site proper is, but also a lot of holes being reconstructed downstairs on this first floor. Mystic Academy is going to have as much fluid momentum as they can downstairs, going to be trying to work their Nitro Cells in an appropriate position, and also potentially go for a denial of that wall. So what we're going to be seeing is the foyer portion of the map. It's going to be taken pretty quickly by Sonic Boom because the defense really can't comfortably hold that. And from there, the offense is going to be leveraging explosive utility to remove a bandit battery, a mute jammer in this case, from the wall. I also like that Frost is in play, but just a bit predictable, and Sonic Boom takes their control without stepping on any of those mats.
Frost is an operator who does see a little bit of play here on Chalet. There's a couple of different spots where you can drop those mats. One of them specifically, I'd say, is going to be that piano window. You don't want an attacker ever to just be able to freely jump in there. Usually, defenders holding piano is enough of a risk for the attack to just say, nope, we're not going to do that. However, you've also got Alibi, which sort of works similarly to Frost in that you place it next to a window and it kind of makes sure that the offense isn't going to step past that. Candle pops out. He's instantly felled by the Zoe. That's Sonic Boom on the entry.
Long angles being held right now for Sonic Boom. We're talking about that pressure on that first floor set up by the defense, and it seems like it hasn't really paid off any dividends. In fact, all but one of those roamers on that first floor, the mute, has been recalled upstairs. They're realizing that the long angles of Sonic Boom is just going to be a little bit too much to overcome. Aggro is going to be another one of the players falling to that. A perfect opportunity to swing.
Wow.
Spy doesn't take it. They lose their forehead. And Mystic Academy, only 2 defenders left. And I think we're going to find themselves in a very hard to overcome position this post plant.
The C4 does go out, though it denies the plant. That's not really going to be the most meaningful of things. Cryptix has still a job he's left to do. Again, the sledge is back on the plant, and there's no way for the Mute to even make the rotation on over towards that planter, and so the offense will complete their first round. And Sonic Boom finally open up the scoreboard. To me, Chief, what won them the round there? Just a little bit of over-aggression, over-peaking from Mystic Academy, but also a Sonic Boom who understand maybe it's time to ignore utility and play a little bit more off the back of our gunny.
100%. I mean, it was those long angles that Sonic Boom established over by the stairwell of Fireplace, and from there, I mean, you can just sit with any type of optic and just wait for Mystic Academy to get so aggressive like they did, Reese. I mean, you're just going to get your head ripped off. You have a one-time sight going against an LMGE. I mean, I'm no scientist, but I'm fairly confident that Zophia's LMGE is going to smoke you 100% of the time.
Yeah, we need to get our friend Tango Mango down to do the chemical formula on that one, because it does not really seem like one that's going to leave the lab in a particularly great state. Mystic Academy, though, their top floor was really good, and I think this is kind of the one site where it's tremendously difficult in any way for the attackers to play like that, okay, I'm going to start skirmishing, I'm going to start sort of left, right, trying to swing you, because there are Surya Gates, there are deployable shields, there's so much to help the defenders. The only way to really get around that would be to go for like a basement rush option, or maybe just piling in through that gaming window.
Man, I'm so tired of seeing rushes sometimes on this bomb site, Reese, because while you're 100% correct, like there's a time and place to rush, sometimes teams say, oh, I don't want to deal with utility. And then they just kind of YOLO into sight. They step on a bunch of frost mats, and then they all are dead in the first 15 seconds. And then they look like surprised Pikachu, and they're like, what went wrong?
You know what? We actually had something like that earlier in the in the Achieve SYR match, where they rushed on reading. And surprise, surprise, Achieve shut down the rush.
Again, there's a time and place to be able to do so, and it just comes down to the right amount of information and where the defense is actually playing. Like, you know, if hypothetically, if Mystic Academy was like off in Narnia with like multiple roamers over by Master, yeah, it's probably a time and place to rush. Definitely not with this defending lineup, and we're seeing Sonic Boom respect what Mystic Academy is bringing out. They're doing their job actually droning, and they've spotted out Mystic Academy taking a temporarily aggressive stand, but as soon as those drones enter into Piano, everybody from Mystic Academy returns to positions that they're going to be very comfortable fighting around.
That's the signal, really, that the second part of this attack has started. You're there to shoot the drones, not to hold those unsupported positions inside Piano. And, unfortunately, the Twitch drone fails to get that ADS there. It's almost a done thing with Twitch drones to get those pieces of utility, because your amount of time that you have to react is so incredibly slim. And the Twitch, I think, for a moment, considered a second drone. She won't need it. They've actually managed to clear this deployable this time without much hurt, and I'm sure that not having one of your opening death players be somebody with grenades makes that a little easier.
Mr. Academy, slightly on the back foot, forced to play a little deeper on the stairwell and deeper into library. Now, we have about 70 seconds to work with for Sonic Boom, and as you were talking about earlier, there's still plenty of explosive utility. One nade left for Hixer, and a well-placed Ionic clone or a drone identifying somebody from Mystic Academy stuck in a corner with no escape route, well, that nade could be completely lethal. And we talked about lethality with weaponry. Look what just found the kill, an LMGE.
It's the rifle that actually guns down aggro to make it a two-man up with 40 to go. Sonic Boom should have a decent thing going for him here. It's going to be Mystic Academy. They have to play for crossfires. If they can, this could be doable. Baron monitoring that jump in on the window. A little hesitancy here from Sonic Boom, but the patience pays off. Down goes Baron. Your smoke is not going to be tossing out any toxic canisters to stall this push any longer. As soon as that X-Kairos explodes on the hatch down towards Bar, it's almost going to act as the signal for things to start moving forward. Shpai able to fell one. Plaid goes down. Arctics immediately to respond, and the sledge, or even Jaeger, has nowhere to go. That's a second round for Sonic Boom. And the thing I like about that one there, Chief, they had the gunny. They also had a great use of utility.
And it was the utility that help them the most during this round. Sure, they found plenty of the opening kills, 2 of them in fact, but it's a great contrast to what we saw in round 4, where it was just long angles. That was the undoing of Mystic Academy, but this time, Mystic Academy could not defend the ADSs once again from the Twitch drone. They were sniped away, and all of a sudden the deployable shield is by itself. A well-placed nade disrupts the play over by Library, and it's all downhill from there, because the defenders have no comfortable positions to sit. They're out in no man's land, and Sonic Boom just hunts them down one by one. And now, Sonic Boom, they're going to be going back to another bomb site that they won. That was the bomb site around 4, and honestly, the bomb site that Sonic Boom probably looked the best on an attack.
And so I'm hoping that maybe we get a couple of adaptations here, and I think we will. Look at the reinforcements. Look at Baron. He's about to place a mirror window down to look into this library area. At least I think so. I think he's going to maybe open the wall first. I'm really hoping that he does place one here. There we go. Baron is going to use this mirror to stop this push in early. Sonic Boom have 2 decisions. Play this a little bit more slowly. Realize they're going to have to use some hard breaching. And they do have the Ace, who could fill the role in disabling that mirror. Or otherwise, maybe they try to go for a rotate and instead push for a Solarium take.
And I think that's what you should be doing, right? The way that you execute here on Chalet is there a lot of deployable shields facing Solarium? If yes, you go Library. If there's a lot of deployable shields facing Library, then you go to Solarium. It's basically wherever the utility isn't, that's where the attack should go.
Right.
Now, the offense is going to find themselves in slightly a predicament because there is utility facing Library and Solar, but I'd rather deal with a single deployable shield and the multiple mirror windows looking towards Library. And now, especially with Aggro's death, when the Nitro Cell's off the board, you're going to be able to have a little bit more flexibility going for that Solar take.
Yeah, I think you've sort of struck gold there, Chief. Taking the path of least resistance is a pretty smart attacking theory, not exclusive to Rainbow Six Siege in any way whatsoever. Aggro died on an early roam down in the basement. It's kind of odd for a mute to be down there. I almost wonder if maybe the Ella Cryptics called out that, you know, we've got a couple people down in the basement. I just heard him open up Trench. Why don't you try to step down here? Maybe they won't expect to have an additional roamer as well. However, he managed to match up with an LMG player, and it's really an unfair comparison for those two. Mystic Academy with the early death, but there hasn't been anything furthermore after that. Solarium control looks to be under the auspices of Sonic Boom, but that mirror window is the other part of this pendulum between the library extension and now what we're seeing, the Solar push.
I don't know if I've ever seen that mirror window facing towards Solar. It's a high-risk, high-reward mirror because it can be shot from Piano, but Sonic Boom isn't taking Piano because they're prioritizing most of their attackers over by Solar, so it could work out well. Zack now falls, and the diffuser drops to the ground. Candle, a little bit heated up after that kill, decides to just rush Solar. A bad decision is going to result in their death, but Baron's going to, well, undo that bad decision with a well-placed Nitro Cell.
Clutch toss from Baron, really needed in this moment to alleviate the pressure, and Cryptics with good damage and support from Spy to move it up 3-2, favor Mystic Academy. Crucially missed shots there from the Sledge allows Baron, with this SMG, highest fire rate in the game, to continue holding down this position. They're still trying to isolate him here, and they're wasting more and more time. Baron is even able to come off of it with a kill, and Cryptics monitoring the long angle for Mystic Academy to make their 4th round.
We talked about the path of least resistance, and I admire the fact that Sonic Boom attempted to do so, but it was really Mystic Academy that set themselves up to be so flexible in that round, Reese, that they're able to create a path of most resistance no matter what. They're able to maneuver their mirror windows and make sure that one's facing Solar, one's facing Library. And I think Sonic Boom just droned out Library and said, nope, not dealing with this. They went Solar and then realized, uh-oh, there's even worse utility here. We're just going to have to deal with that. We're so committed to this execute, we're just going to have to try to overcome. And why I admire that from Sonic Boom, it was unfortunately too steep of a hill for them to overcome.
Well, I've got a question now that you've just made me think of. Coach to coach,
okay.
Caster to caster, when is it too late to call a rotation?
Depending on your utility. So there's no, like, one size fits all. Like, if you could rotate with, like, 20 seconds on the board, there's still time. Let's say, like, you're executing on Villa, you're trying to push in through Classical, then you say, nope, let's go to plant behind, what is it? Why can't I think of it? Maps. like that's a fine rotation. It just depends on how much effort it requires to rotate. So for the Solar Execute, you have to rotate 5 attackers, all of your utility. There's still enough time there, but you have to do it quite promptly because you're going to find yourself in the same problem with all of the utility on the other wall.
That's a really well thought out answer. I'm glad you made that. So now with it understood, Mystic Academy are the team that we go to look at in that lens next, because they are the team now with the side swap to put onto the attack. And you would think, as this roster probably scrims a little bit more than Sonic Boom, they probably have experienced more opportunities to call in practice for rotates. And I know Bear, just from my experience as well, he's not the kind of leader to say, let's push the same thing, let's go with the same strategy even if it's not working. He will make a change if it's needed. Candle, that star player I mentioned earlier, already starting us off in a very positive note with a Moroccan defender eliminated.
Oh, this flashbang is going to be so important. It's going to burn the ADS, and now Candle's going to dispatch the nade. Zach felt the pressure, and they swing in accordance. That's Candle off the board, the star player of Mystic Academy silenced, and I was about to hype up Mystic Academy's beautiful team composition to remove that player, but great game sense from Zach there. Honestly, most defenders are going to just kind of cower in that corner and just accept the death of the grenade. Well done to Zach, and now look what's happened. Mystic Academy is fearful of Zach. They don't know where he went, even though he's already dropped the hatch.
Well, you know, the fear of the unknown is one of the most prolific in any scenario, and having a roamer that's unknown, that there's not maybe enough time or enough resources to drone, kind of adds to that factor as well. The defenders on the site might have to worry about this pressure that's coming up from the basement stairs. It's something that can very quickly sort of evolve into a loss of control of the bar. If the attackers just feel the need to walk in, I don't think they're going to go for that immediately, though. But X-Kairos detonating on back stock, it's not something that we see every attack. This is kind of a rare notion, but it makes this a lot more workable for the attack, and I think we see a piece of evidence there as Spy has Tracken.
I think more teams would detonate that wall of stock if they had the utility to go with. And the gun barrels of Mystic are just starting to fly high. Hixer may as well be in the wardrobe of Narnia, because they're on the other side of the map. They're forced to take a 1v4 retake, and sure, they've already had their teammates open up the hatches during the prep phase, but Aggro is going to be monitoring that hatches, and with the prepped nade, Hixer knows that he's not long for this role. Hixer has to negotiate the kills on site, and with so many members on the windows upstairs, it's going to be practically impossible. He's outside. I mean, this is a desperation. That has just confirmed his death. He might find a few kills here and there, but it's going to be purely meaningless. I love that he went outside. He got a kill doing so, but it didn't help him in the long run.
Well, you know, maybe if this were the old pre-rework Chalet, that move would have worked. He would have been able to get through that little corner door it used to have, but no luck. An aggressive play that unfortunately meets little success. And Chief, we're on kind of a relatively similar pace as the first map of the earlier series, Achieve versus SYR. It's 5-2. One team looks completely dominant over the other on their map selection. Baron has always been a really good Chalet guy. All of his teams have succeeded on this map, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just because the map sort of sits well with him. Maybe he just feels good playing on it. I mean, he's having a decent game so far. He's 4-5. But Sonic Boom are kind of missing some elements for me.
And when Hixer and Co. won CCL in the previous season, weren't they also considered a Chalet team?
Yeah, they were. They actually, I'm pretty sure they played Chalet in the finals.
So we're having kind of the battle of the Chalet rosters. And with that storyline developing, I'm kind of shook that Mystic Academy has a 5-2 lead.
Yeah, it was actually Chalet that Valor's won the season on. I remember that. It was 7-5. They closed it out over Tide Pods.
Interesting. Well, Hixer needs to hop back into the old Valorous mentality and maybe leverage some of those strengths again. Because the Sonic Boom roster, they're making, again, small mistakes, things that the roster is more than capable of overcoming. But I think the hardest thing there, Reese, is to identify the mistakes in the live match.
Well, I suppose in the comparison there in the finals, Hixer also had legendary player Jimmy Buckets at his side, which made it a bit of an unwinnable situation when you got old Jimmy. He's really launching it in. Here comes a grenade. Tracken does make it out in time, though. He's going to have to clear his retinas and put on a pair of sunglasses, but he does make it back safely, and that's what really matters for me. offense have not gotten an opening pick like they did in the previous round, and this spells maybe more success for the defenders, but that second grenade much more prolific than the first.
Ah, yes, the current meta we reside in. Just drop all of your nades around the map, why don't you? Because it's working perfectly for Mystic Academy. And honestly, Reese, the way that this is going right now, we might find ourselves on match point quicker than we assumed. Now, there are still plenty of players of Sonic Boom occupying this lobby, and the potential roam of Hixer might be good enough for a kill. It most certainly is, but you still got to overcome the extra set of nades that Mystic Academy brought. They brought 3 sets, my friend, and they still have 3 more nades themselves. They burned 3, but 3 left. Man, Sonic Boom somehow has to dive around that utility.
There's always a way to circumvent it. It's just about finding that path through and trying to hope they can survive here. Aggro onto Arctics, and so Hixer's DBNO onto the Maverick, just a little bit less value, but making a kill happen out of that library window. Let's not say that it's said and done here with a technical 2v2 playing out in the server. Cryptix has crawled his way all the way down to the bottom of the stairs, and you can see there Hixer must have heard the audio cue. He confirms it. Could be an ace potentially here for the Malusi if the same track keeps on playing out. 50 to go. Hixer is retaken up to the top.
Man, Hixer's position is going to be this wrinkle in this round for Mystic Academy. They're really going to have to prioritize what you want to deal with. Do you want to deal with the player on site and then deal with the roamer after the fact? It seems like it's going to be the foremost of those options. They're going to try to clear out stock and deal with Hixer after the fact. Aggro, with no information, ends up falling to the Frost, and now Baron is by themselves, and it's going to be a regrouping for Hixer. They're going to play with their teammates and now try to establish this crossfire. Sonic Boom has been able to overcome the nades, and now they're just going to have to overcome Baron's stealth walk up the freezer stairs, which is being completely monitored.
Plaid just sort of had the pre-aim there, knew, maybe heard somebody moving down there, and ultimately Baron's chances, they look possible in the 1v2, but they won't pan out in the server, and that's a big league clutch for Sonic Boom, a round that they sorely needed that prevents Mystic Academy from moving on to match point, which in itself has a lot of value, but it also cuts the deficit to just 2, a very winnable position if Sonic Boom can consolidate and play a little bit more like that, maybe involve some team play elements as well, because it's the crossfires, and I think the ability to refrag that Sonic Boom are lacking a little bit here.
I'm so glad we're not going to Master right now. I'm glad that we're going downstairs to Kitchen, because if we were seeing Master, it would be the artillery barrage of nades, and then all of a sudden, it would be Sonic Boom suffering double nade deaths.
Yeah, you can't really nade from below on an objective that has entirely concrete floors.
Hear me out. You throw it through the hatch there, and then you get like the most lucky CSGO Kobe bouncing off the wall, and you kill Zach behind the deployable shield. Wait.
Yeah.
No, actually, you can. Look at where Zach was playing. That soft wall sometimes has a player in that spot, so you most certainly could nade it, and I would hypothesize that the reason why Aggro was brought out was to do exactly that.
Maybe, and I would like to see if that does happen. However, I'm going to lean on a bit of anecdotal evidence. I have never seen any vertical be done on that area of the map.
You haven't seen Mystic Academy.
I haven't. This is my first time casting them. I watched a scrim with Baron, but I haven't casted them.
So I didn't cast this match, but it was one of the other amateur leagues, and Aggro would solo drone downstairs in the garage, and both on Kitchen as well as in the bar, he would do this. He would just shotgun open everything. It is on, and again, I haven't seen this before until Mystic did it. I think you can see it all chat that Sonic Boom's like, what the heck is going on?
He's like, wait up, you could do that? I've never even seen this before. Oh my god. I have to give you credit there for knowing that aggro and understanding that 7th pick, that the repick meant that they were going to try to do this vert, because this is a really ingenious way. It can be tough to catch this defender from that trophy window. It's a really slim sight line, and bam, that's a guaranteed entry pick, one that's going to go a long way here.
Queen Yali coaches over here with the big brain strategies. I love to see it. And the thing that we love the most is when new innovative strategies work. Sonic Boom finds themselves the man disadvantage, and their hold upstairs is being dealt with at 2 different intervals. You're on site being pressured, and the players upstairs in Master are being pressured, and where on earth did defenders go, Reese? It's not like you return back to your bomb site, because you're going to find yourself in the exact same position you were earlier.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room when you've got all of these different sightlines that have been established and have been constructed. It's surprising to me that Sonic Boom have not given up on this top floor. The man advantage isn't anything to where, you have to give it up. It's not, completely guaranteed, but this player behind this shield is going to be taken out relatively soon. I'm surprised Spy isn't just completely firing through the wall, given that he's got the LMG. He'll start to do that. Ooh, the Alibi does manage to get back, however, kept in, penned in by Cryptics on the big window repel. And there you see what happens when you try to play that top floor extension without the castle.
And I love the team coordination there from Mystic. You're asking, why isn't an LMG shooting? Well, they're just making sure that there's somebody on big window to catch the rotation out in the event that it happened. That was the optimal outcome that we saw, and well done for Mystic Academy, who, once again, are looking practically flawless. They have a huge man advantage, and with 30 seconds, they're just knocking on the door frames of this bomb site. Zach with a DMR slug shotgun. It's impossible to get a kill with it with one attacker, let alone 5 of them. He certainly tries his best with a Nitrocell, but it won't be able to overcome those odds. And what a beautiful strategy there to find match point with.
Yeah, that attack played out exactly as I imagine IGL Baron and Coach Yali planned it out to be. Everything went according to plan. The defense played right into their hand, and it's unfortunate to say that. But Mystic Academy, you have to give credit where credit is due, and that was an absolutely beautiful thing to see play out. Only a single rounds left. This one could be over and done with in a very early scoreline. Won't be the 7-2 that Achieve started out their series on, but a 7-3, it's really not much different.
It's, again, these strong rounds for Mystic Academy, and there's strong attacks that are going to help them, well, maybe find this in that 7-3 as you're talking about. Aggro's back on Buck, and like I was talking about, you can still Buck from the basement. Let's say Hixer is playing that mirror window facing towards the south. He has to be very careful of where he puts his feet on that soft floor, because if he puts them in the wrong position, all of a sudden he's going to be getting shot from below. Now, with that mirror window facing towards the north, I think that Sonic Boom has learned their lesson, and they're just not going to stand on any wooden floors.
They're going to try to maximize, the amount of safe cover. It's not like there's any kind of flak jacket operator that you can bring here. Maybe you could get by with a Rook and some kind of overhealing from Thunderbird, but with the changes to the Kona station, that's not really any feasible situation. And those grenades, as long as you've got the right call and they're on the money, it's almost a done deal. Aggro will keep the Buck as well. I'm curious to see if that's going to be used in service of just clearing out some of these positions. We saw when it was Mystic Academy that defended this strategy, a lot of times they played the Alibi behind that master bedroom bed. They would play somebody there. That would peek up and would watch the main breach. There's a vert that you can get below there. Spy opens up. Wow. Kraken. Oh no, he got shot through the bathroom window.
That is a dirty angle. We saw in the previous round, and I didn't think it'd bear any fruit, which it didn't in the previous round, but it does here. And once again, we're seeing the dominance of Mystic Academy and their map understanding to be able to apply pressure from very on positions. And the story gets worse for Sonic Boom. They drop another one of their defenders, and now you have to overcome an attacking team that seems to have the knowledge and angle superiority. How do you break this? You have to deal with the Buck, you have to deal with aggro from below, and then you have to deal with the window repel pressure, and there's so many things that Sonic Boom has to overcome. It's going to be certainly a difficult task to do so.
Still do have a little bit of a mill race of defenders. Looks like Arctic's in the basement, kind of moving around and hoping that he might shut down the vertical that had been perpetrated on the objective. Hixer with a C4 toss as he calls it in. No damage done. It's actually the Aruni and her T5 Roni still doing a lot of work as the Hibana goes down, but that disconnect unfortunately means this isn't a 4-on-4 situation. There's the 3-on-3 though, as the kills go equal, and Cryptics fell. That's your 0 candle on the coverage, though.
Hixer in the bomb side. With the ADSs detonating around them, they know that they're not long for this world. They're being pressured from multiple sources, and here's one of the hardest things to do, Reese. Prioritize where the swing is going to be coming from first, and hope you're able to break down the coverage. Now, there's going to be an interesting opportunity for Hixer. So when the plant goes down, aggro falls at the diffuser carrier, and Hixer finds another one, making it that 1v1, and Candle was able to just use that hologram to drone out where Hixer was playing. But Candle does have an advantage. It's a low HP of Hixer. One bullet will be enough to remove Hixer's position, and the pre-fire's almost there. Candle is able to shut that down. Boy, oh boy, Reese. It was looking close there. What an incredible almost comeback from Sonic Boom to overcome the 2 opening deaths, but while it was a valiant effort, it would not be enough to secure map number 1, Chalet.
Candle, a solid player in the early game, and also a trusty pillar of the Mystic Academy backline to clutch it up there in the last moment. 11 kills to 7 deaths in a 10-round game. Candle really proving why Chalet looks to be one of Mystic Academy's best maps. I'm going to have to ban it if we go up against them later down the line. But Chief, your main takeaways from the first map in series.
My takeaway was how well Mystic played together as a team and how everybody did their jobs, whether or not it was on the opening kill department, whether or not it was the utility burn department, whether or not it was the Buck Skeleton key from below. It was just a masterclass of how to play together as a cohesive unit. And on the side of Sonic Boom, they had moments of brilliance. Hixer's gunplay was incredible, maybe the best that we saw in the lobby, but it was small little mistakes that ended up putting them on that back foot. And when you have a team that is playing nearly perfect on their map choice, those mistakes become lethal.
Well, the good thing is, on the other side, we've got their opponent's map selection, which is hopefully going to be a little bit of a closer thing. And I keep referencing our first game of our opening day for CCL, but when we got into the second map, it was the opponent's map selection that really proved to be the solid rock. It went into overtime when we played Villa earlier. Let's see if we get another OT after this short break.
Taking the view when it look right. And oh, it's the good life. Whipping the soup when I cook like. Look left, look right, yeah. Come with a hook right. Hook right, hook right, hook right. Make all the man them look twice. I'm way up, stood high. But I've been in the field like Suge Knight. And they know this took time. This what a legacy look like. This what a
Say I'm good-hearted, but I'm just getting started. Got my eyes on the target. Till the battle's won, till kingdom come. I'll never run. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me. They'll be calling me royalty. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me. They'll be calling me royalty. They'll be calling me royalty. future. Book all the cages, no, I won't sit and take it. No, no. They left me for dead, I guess I'll never learn. Every time I break, there's just more pain to burn. They'll never, never, never learn. Till the battle's won, till kingdom come. I'll never run. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, calling me. They'll be calling me royalty. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, calling me. They'll be calling me royalty.
Hello friends, and welcome back to the first day of CCL's 2022 season. We just got done with a pretty decisive result, a 7-3 for Mystic Academy on the map of Chalet. We're lining up for the second map, hoping that we get a little bit more of a competitive game and a close fight here. My name is Sikula, I'm here with Chief. Let's talk about setting the stage for map number 2. What are the most important things, along with team play, to try to get in this second map?
Mistakes, mistakes. That's simply it. Like, if you're making catastrophic mistakes like we saw Sonic Boom make on Chalet, Oregon is going to be a death sentence. Because coordinated teams on Chalet, like coordinated teams like we saw from Mystic on Chalet, that is going to be something that's impossible to overcome. Because if you're coordinating attack, let's say you're defending dorms, and you have somebody big window, you have attackers pressuring you from pit, they're coming in from trophy, the breach of games, how do you defend that as a defender? You're going to be swung from so many positions, and if you make a small error as minuscule as maybe an ADS in the wrong spot or an opening death, all of a sudden your strengths and your best map might put you in a series that ends 2-0 against you.
It's very easy to spot those mistakes, and oftentimes they quickly escalate. That's the problem. You do something wrong, it's not just an isolated incident. Then it causes something else to fail that in a perfect scenario probably wouldn't have gone wrong. And that's obviously kind of the way that Oregon plays out. It's a very kind of start to finish map. There's a clear pacing. There's a lot of things that we understand every team does. You know, hard breaching. You can't get flanked. You have to monitor the roam. You can't let these simple things go by. And when it happens on Villa, it makes me think that it will also happen on Oregon. However, Chalet did have a moment where things got kind of complex. Oregon, I would say it's a little bit more, I wouldn't call it simple, but everybody knows what you need to do on Oregon.
I will say, I'm expecting one thing. More attacker repick, and particularly aggro, removing whatever operator they were previously on, and once again, bring Buck back into the lineup, because one of my favorite attacks going back to that Dorm's defense is when you pressure Kitchen, you bring out that Buck skeleton key, and then the defenders on the side are now looking down saying, uh-oh, my feet are exposed, there's a Buck and friends there, I don't know what to do, and they end up getting smoked through the floorboards. So I'm expecting to see that once again.
What if they ban Buck?
Oh, that would be quite unique. Would you risk that, though? So obviously Thatcher's gone. Flores is a viable ban, especially for downstairs. NJ Bunker, that is a very, very niche ban. Is it possible? Yes, but I think there are other greater evils, particularly Flores, that should probably deserve that ban more.
And I would tend to agree. I just love to bring up these little unique situations, like maybe a Buck gets banned or something. Something goes a little bit differently than we usually expect. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of Flores recently. I've had a couple opportunities to watch him on Oregon, but the basement and repick, it makes for like perfect scenarios, right? The offense is never missing something because you have an opportunity. Okay, what's the site? It's basement. Bam! let's get our hard breachers, let's get, Zoer slides, let's get some softer structures, let's get a nades, maybe you got Finka, and then throw Flores in there as well. It's really hard to go objectively wrong with the planning for the offense. And the defense, I've heard the opposite thing, because you don't have 6-pick anymore. You make a mistake in your lineup, you choose the wrong operator, you're looking at the wrong stat, the wrong strat in the Google Doc. You don't have an opportunity to fix that mistake. And we had that earlier with the rehost needing to be called in the first game because somebody picked the new operator who was obviously not allowed.
Boy, you sound like a coach that has written a really good strat book and have your players read something completely different. I haven't ever been there because all my GCU players are perfect and they all always select the right operators. Obviously a joke there, but that's true. I mean, what about the deliberation window too, right? Like, we've lost reveal phase, we've lost 6-pick phase, and we lost, I guess, our reveal phase as the production side. So a defender could have this well-orchestrated defense established during that 45-odd seconds, and now, Reese, you kind of have to do it in about 15 seconds. So if you're an IGL spitballing, you gotta, I guess, turn into a rap god.
So there's the Flores ban we talked about. There will not be a buck removed, just much to my chagrin. You've got Valkyrie taken out and Cade. So, I imagine things are going to play out pretty favored towards the defense here. Mystic Academy, they already played a lot of Mira. I'm actually kind of surprised that they would allow the Mira through a second time when we've clearly shown a disposition. It's literally the first operator picked in the server. Aggro gets right to the Spaniard, wastes no time, and Sonic Boom will need to prepare something. Okay, they've got Glaz and Blitz. Now, you would expect them to probably repick, but hey, we're going down to the basement. There is room for these two operators in a very specific kind of strategy.
Can I just say that Glaz with the red dot has become the best optic in game? So you have the banana people optic, as I like to call it, right? Where you can see through smoke and everybody turns bright yellow. But the red dot, it's just one small little dot in your screen. It is such a flawless optic and so unintrusive that it makes clicking heads even me. I can click heads with the new Glaz. So, honestly, I'm kind of Team Glaz.
Did you see that tweet I posted the other day with the Russian holographic, or excuse me, the Cybertruck holo on Glaz's rifle?
Oh, no, that's an abomination. Please don't ever mention that to me again.
I'm going to have to DM it to you after this cast is over, because you really need to see it and bask in all its glory.
I am a disciple of the red dot, and I will not accept the disciples of the Cybertruck holo in my broadcast booth.
My apologies, then. You've got to Omai on a little early look towards a spawn peak, but the first effort is not successful. We'll see if it is on the second. You have to be careful how far extended you play here. I noticed we do have the Glaz and Blitz taken out of this composition. Cryptic's looking to take an early battle. It looked like that was the Iana. Hard to tell with the sight lines and the outlines on the other side here. There's also a defender top white, and yeah, they've been spotted by Arctics. He's got the kill to get it all started.
Well, Shapai was looking good upstairs, but look who's fallen. That is probably your most important defender, because the Omai pancakes grow throughout the duration of the round. So when you have your Omai roaming on the top of white stairs, well, all of a sudden, that nice bit of utility is going to be stuck. So with the amount of time left in that round where they lost their life, there's only 2, maybe 3 of those pancakes max on the field of play. So when Sonic Boom goes for the utility burn, they're going to have less utility to actually bypass. So it's going to put themselves in an excellent position, better than just the kill.
Right, that's all that you need to worry about. Try to capitalize on your advantages. Don't just take the kill and say, oh, we're going to win now because we've got 5v4. We can just play it out. Now, you need to take that. You need to use the opening kill to fight a more recessed defender. Usually, the way things work, in a man disadvantage, you don't try to make a larger roam happen. There can be a certain couple circumstances where you need to fight for a pick, but generally, I think it's hard to do that on basement, because if you're already in a 4v5 holding off the attack, if somebody makes a flank, it's incredibly risky. There's a huge chance that you're going to leave the defenders in a no-win scenario.
Mystic Academy is still sprinkled throughout this bomb site, and there's still plenty of time to play. One of the best bits of utility at wasting time, toxic gas grenades are being dispatched, and Arctics is still going, well, nuclear. They're still finding heads, and while Hixer is locked out because of the toxic gas grenade, the final one is used, but still full map control for Sonic. They have these stairwells to the west, and they're about to push in through J Bunker with Bear and so little utility. He's going to have to stand his ground and take gunfights. He retreats from the position, but without the reinforcement, this might put his teammates in a very bad spawn. Pillar is under control, and now it's just aggro. Sure, they have a mirror window, but they're stun locked into oblivion, and their behind is fully exposed. With the plant going down, there's just no way aggro is going to leave this position.
Most especially not when you've got an LMG that just keeps you locked in, and finally only needing the shots to reach their target to close down on that basement round. A success for Sonic Boom, proving that the Mira wasn't really enough to put a stop to them. It didn't seem to really help out too much in any specific departments, and ultimately just sort of trapped a player in that secret box. Sonic Boom take the first. Now, can they chain it together to make a second? We'll see it on the top floor.
Isn't it funny how we always hype up these mirror windows to be sometimes the end-all be-all of an attacking offense, but when there's just one person and one mirror window against 4, that mirror window may as well be a plexiglass shield at that point. It's just going to do nothing to help you, especially when the LMG is going nuclear. A wise decision, though, for Mystic Academy to change up their bomb sites. Basement was executed beautifully by Sonic Boom, and now Mystic needs to find a new avenue, and that's going to be the change up in the bomb site. To Mystic's credit, though, they did waste a lot of time. I would just like them to not have senseless opening deaths, and that's going to be something you're going to have to log in their mind's eye going into round 2.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I don't really think that a Wamai needs to be challenging White Stairs. That seems like kind of risky move. You know, you're roaming. You want to come back late. You don't want to sit there and be really... And the player on White Stairs, it's not like he was walking down and shooting at the attackers. He was just up there at the top, sitting with his head poking out. And I feel like you kind of got to play that a little bit better if you're the Wamai, because you costed your team early, and Sonic Boom really drove home the advantage. Hey, maybe if this was a 5-on-5 when it came down to the site, the mirror windows would have been able to activate and be more useful. But because they weren't, Sonic Boom pushed in areas where there simply weren't any windows.
Big window is now the new home, the Sonic Boom attack, and that's going to be the feared LMG, not the Zofia LMG, but that's the ACOG-wielding Hixer LMG on the Finca. And now, if you're Mystic Academy, how do you get to White Stairs? How do you go between the two bomb sites without that LMG ripping you wide? And to make it even more of a bitter pill, Sonic Boom has, well, I was about to say absolute map control. But there's just one slight problem. There are vertical holes in the security, and the lack of drones from Sonic Boom kind of put them in a bad position. That's something you just have to be prepared for, and one of your best roam clears off the board, and I guess a roamer is going to fall as a trade, though, so maybe it's not that big of a deal that Jackal is no longer available to the offense.
Well, 1-for-1. X-Kairos are going to detonate, and Candle, he thought for a moment maybe he was going to challenge that. He'll go for a little pre-fire move, but it's not like he's going to stay inside Attic, actively fighting against the entry of players into that wall. Still have white coverage with Arctics playing this a little passive. There's a defender who's extended. I like this. I like how Cryptix is holding, kind of expanding the way that they're playing this bomb site, because they realize there's no master bedroom pressure. This is going to be almost exclusively a attic and big window take, which could go really well. It also could go terribly wrong, and I think one of the biggest plays in this defensive holdout is going to be Baron with the C4 as well as the shotgun. Plaid not really contributing much at the moment, still kind of monitoring over towards Attic, but not exerting any serious pressure other than that, and Sonic Boom looked to me like they're starting to sort of stall out.
Lobby's still flipping that coin, trying to figure out which side it's going to land. Now, with Candle finding that kill, it might be Tails for Mystic Academy. A vault in, and they're just dead. There's pre-made murder holes. No idea what the decision here was, but it was not the best decision to be had. I think that was honestly just a, well, there's 40 seconds. I'm kind of at a stuck. You guys at a stuck? And they're like, oh yeah. And then they just rush because they didn't bother droning. Like, that was the worst decision they could have made.
Yeah, it seemed the attackers did not work the holes both ways. They were entirely in favor of the defense. As soon as everything came together, Sonic Boom died. You could say maybe that was because they didn't really try to soften up the defense with much utility. I would also add on, they didn't really capitalize off the back of vertical below. Maybe that's because they lost their Jackal early and they didn't really have a lot of tools in order to open up the vertical. But overall, I think a lack of expansion on the vert led to a defense that had numerous playable positions, and you try to jump in against that crossfire at big window. Like, I don't even need to tell you that, Chief. That's not going to work.
Hopefully we have something else work, though, and that's going to be the Mystic defense downstairs in the basement. To their credit, the last time we saw this site, they wasted a lot of time, but it wasn't quite enough. And as you mentioned earlier, it was the roam of Shapai on the Wamai out of all operators that just put themselves 6 feet under. It's such a crucial bit of utility. And did you notice who just went upstairs? It's Shapai.
He's back. He's ready to attack. And he's up on the top floor. I'm hoping that he's learned his lesson from the first round. It's basement. You have to play this a little precariously. I know that's a word we kind of use a lot as casters, but there is a very specific way that you have to operate up here. You need to be flexible. You need to be able to constantly rotate, because you're not playing something where you've got a lot of defender friends that are going to help you hold the attackers back. You're a lurker. You're almost kind of a rat. You're waiting for someone to misdrone you or not pay enough attention to you. That way you can open up and make some kind of late play. You're not looking to take the early contention. You want attackers with backs turned, rifles facing away.
And with Jackal on the board, he's just going to get identified upstairs, and then he's going to have to somehow hightail it out of there. Cryptics try to play aggressive. Wasn't a comfortable gunfight for them. They end up losing their life, but fortunately Agra is there to go for a trade, so emphasis being made for Mystic Academy to stay always on that nice edge to make sure when one of their roamers do fall, they're able to come back from that, and they did a perfect job at that. And once again, Jackal is going to be one of the first operators dead for Sonic Boom. No more Inox scanner, and no more finding the feet of those defenders.
Which is something we've had a familiarity with so far, the Jackal being an early death and not having the capability to pursue any defenders. That might cause some problems. The Spy is still coming down from this main stairs. However, they don't need the Inox to tell them that. A little above the angle on the pre-aim here from Track, and he should be able to execute it no problem though. Spy, you don't want to slow peek this. You really do not want to slow peek this. Spots the twitch on the crossover and hits him with the pre-fire. Now we've got a bit of a problem because Mystic Academy have a defender unaccounted for on the top floor. Plaid might be able to cut him off though. I think the Wamai probably wouldn't expect someone to be up there so quickly.
He's starting to put some of those Wamai pancakes to prevent them from being flashbanged away. This is a genius use of the roam. Now, some might argue that the utility is used elsewhere better, and he loses the gunfight to a Zac just walking in? There's 5 pancakes!
Look at him!
That is the worst utility usage I've ever seen. Like, that's a screenshot, like, oh, heartbreaking.
That's just, I mean, Shapai, you can say he got his kill, and he really slowed things down, Chief. There's only 25 seconds for a 3-on-3 to erupt at the objective. Tracken is commensurately worried about any kind of push in from the basement side. They're going to play this on the cross. Here comes Iana and Hibana, but neither of them able to sufficiently make entry. Baron DBNO'd, and Platt is going to TK, shooting his teammate, so no advantage garnered off the back of one being down inside of freeze. Here comes a step forward. Plaid goes down. Candle has to resort to the pistol, and he gets it with the hip fire. Mystic Academy have the lead.
Drop shot, no less, and, well, maybe Spy wasted some time, but Reese, hear me out. Pretend we're going to a universe where there are operators designed to roam. Cav, Vigil, Mozzie, heck, and even a Mute. You're bringing Wamai for their utility. And if you're not, if you want to bring it for the MP5, Mute also has that gun, also with 1.5 times sight. It just seems like really precious utility is being wasted on that roam. You're putting 1 Wamai pancake on... No, there's 5 there. He only has 5. So 0 Wamai pancakes were used in the defensive on sight. Terribly... Bring a Cav, please.
A Cav? Really? A Cav?
It'd be better than the Wamai, because, I mean, you'd at least get more utility. You'd be invulnerable to the Jackal Inox. He wouldn't have got scanned like they did in the previous round. Actually, I don't think he got scanned. He could have been.
The Jackal died in about a minute of the round beginning. The Wamai was not even a thought in the Jackal's mind when he died in the lobby.
No, I think a 5.56 was, though.
It was. It certainly was. And it was, how do I not die to that next round? We're going tertiary anyhow, with the 2 other sites, basement and dorms, being locked up for a little bit on the rotation. It'll be meeting that we'll see. I haven't caught a lot of dining lately. Current meta, dining is pretty much impossible. I've seen a couple good strats with Tachanka. Outside of that, though, he's really not being played.
I love this bomb site, man. Way better than the sister site over on the west side, over by dining. Spy doesn't have to worry about the roam anymore because they're dead. They were just caught walking, and they're caught sleeping. Unfortunate, and once again, Jackal will not be used to find a spy. They'll be used to find somebody else. That's actually going to be somebody roaming in the basement. Somebody crosses the nose. That's Baron, and I think we see Mystic Academy starting to scramble. They just weren't quite prepared to have one of their mates ripped away so early from them.
That's a bit of a hurt, and Spy has either been a hero or a zero so far, has gotten killed early or has survived to at least do a little bit of something. Here comes the C4 on the toss, just barely a smidgen of damage onto the Twitch, but nothing that's really going to make you play this any differently. Oh, here comes the Jackal, putting the pressure to this player in the back, but look at that for Candle. We'll see if the trade comes out. Oh no, it doesn't. Arctics and the attackers will win out that little skirmish here coming out of Trophy into games. Cryptix tries to fight the Vert a little bit, but Mystic Academy are going to face a serious pressure problem as the offense has got 2 man up on them. And they've also got the Sledge, who is going to open up every vertical angle possibility, making this really tricky one for the defense to work out. Aggro, though, on the comeback for a flank.
Aggro, if he finds 1 or 2 kills, that's going to be the turnaround point for Mystic Academy. But also, poor Cryptix is on the bomb site by themselves, and you can see the drones roaming, but there's a flank drone. Sonic Boom knows that their flank is being monitored by somebody from Mystic Academy. They did. Looks like they checked it, but missed shots from Aggro. He needed to find this kill because this is an alert to Sonic Boom. Hey, there's only 1 defender on site. We could just rush right now and completely overwhelm them. Cryptic's starting to feel that pressure, and they're stuck between security. There's so many different positions that can be monitored from above on the first floor that he has nowhere to go. But he's good for 2. It's the come around, and Aggro's flank is good for it. It's now just Hixer, and against all odds, Mystic Academy puts themselves in an incredible position. A toxic gas grenades are going to deter Hixer from acquiring the diffuser in through dining room, and where on earth has Aggro gone? That's a question that Hixer's going to have to ask themselves, and it's the prone angle, and Hixer needs to move now. No drones, and with Legion mines all around him, he has to be so careful on where he puts his feet and checks corners. But there he goes. He ends up falling. A 2v4 comeback against all odds, Reese. Mystic's good for it.
I think we will excuse the potato inside trophy because Mystic Academy, despite that, survived, and we'll have a tactical timeout called as that was not a round you were really meant to lose. Such a tough one to fight out from there. And for Sonic Boom, it's happening on their map pick as well. The storyline of this one being a little bit more competitive, though it's starting on the offense, is not looking great so far.
What did I say when we entered into map number 2? I said Sonic Boom does so many things well, but they make so many mistakes. Yep, it's the errors. How do you let Aggro flank you? How do you let Cryptix run out at you with an FMG9? Lord Tachanka may never know, but it's so frustrating. Like, there's no reality where Mystic wins that. Again, Mystic's a beautiful and incredible roster, and I guess they just overcome terrible mistakes. Again, it should never have gone that distance.
Well, let's get to the point here in this tactical timeout. I imagine what you're probably talking about is going to be closing down on some of those errors, not allowing the situation where you've got that big lead, you've got that 4v2 to ultimately spiral out of control. Oftentimes what my team will do is call for a reset, and I think a lot of rosters do this. Play it out as if you were just starting from that point onwards. Don't get excited. Don't get too crazy about it.
I love the term reset. I always say, all right, let's take a chill, guys. 1 second, deep breath, mentally reset, and kind of go from square one. Use the drones, gather information. To be fair, Hixer had no drone, so they had to kind of go off their game sense. But being the one of the champions from CCL Season 1, they most certainly do have that game sense. Again, it was just bad becomes worse for the side of Sonic Boom.
I'm Reese. Reese goes with reset. I mean, what can I say? They work together.
No. So what do I say? Brian and take a break? Break?
I don't know. It's not really. It's not got that same pizzazz as Reset, but We've got a couple more rounds left in the half. 3-3 is not terrible. What did you just say?
Break. I don't know, because Reset works, but break. I don't know, man.
No, I think it's
trying.
a bit of a. What is this? I know you're not the sports guy, but who is Christian Wood? Is he a college player? I know we've got the March Madness.
Why do you ask me? I don't know ball sports.
I don't know. Maybe the Observer will
sports.
say something. I don't know. I'm more of a football guy.
That's a ball sport.
Yeah. All right. You were saying?
So upstairs we go to dorms, and we've seen, well, strengths from Mystic Academy here. Only one showing, back in round 2. And that was a bomb site that Mystic won. But also, I have a memory of it being kind of close at stages, that roller coaster that we described on Chalet, and then Mystic Academy wins because, surprise, Sonic made a mistake. What am I watching? No clue.
Shpai is playing like a player who's got double digits right now. Like, he is fully confident in himself. And I vibe with that, but at the same time, when are you maybe going to realize that the reason why you have 1 kill and 4 deaths is because of that overhyping of your abilities? I hate to be a realist.
There's just no time and place to do that. Pardon?
I hate to be a realist, that's just what I see.
I don't think you're wrong, though. That's the problem, is there's just no reality where, in this level of competitive, that you're going to smoke somebody on that run out. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, in silver, bronze, elo, sure, but none of these players are in silver, bronze, elo, so we're just going to move on from that. And we're going to have to move on because Sonic Boom has to deal with an incredible defense over by Master. And, well, it's the Roam that's going to be undone first by Mystic Academy. There's the trade from Baron, and I think we're seeing a play out of the Mystic Academy attacking playbook because Buck is being used on the vertical pressure.
Got that skeleton key, and it can hopefully unlock a little bit more possibility for the Sonic Boom offense, as there are a number of these crucial defender positions. They didn't have it last time, and to me that was probably why they lost it, if you wanted to choose one reason and really drive home on it. Candle is going to fight the vertical, and unfortunately it's a not great situation for Hixer, who does take a bit of punishment for that. Candle is still continuing to battle against this. Call him a player with a lot of confidence, because right now he's just hit fire right through the floor. Hixer on a shred of health now. That probably is going to mean the end of the vertical being played below in dining, because the Buck could risk death if he continues to try.
No Finka on the board. Finka is one of the best operators at healing your mates and the only one on attack to do so. With the grenade barrage meta, where we're seeing multiple sets of nades, we're kind of feeling the absence of that Finka. Only one set of nades, that was Sledge, but they lost their life a long time ago, and Hixer's going to have to maintain that low HP and just hope that they don't get challenged through the vertical. Hixer is now done with their vertical. They're out of ammo in that skeleton key. So whatever they opened up, that's going to remain. And while the big window take starts to queue up, Hixer has to pray that they find a kill, and there's a prayer.
That's the answer to the problem, and hopes to make this a little bit easier. 30 to go. Reverse repel still from Plaid. This is in Surrogate, currently on recharge. Shpai will take up the position just where his teammate died a couple moments prior, but now goes down as a result of that cutoff coming from the top white area. Flashbang in. Baron will be the third player to try to hold off inside white. Let's hope he can be a little more successful. Plaid steps in lengthwise, doesn't check the interior angle on a shotgun, trying to reach out. A plant coming down, and Baron denies it. Comes up big in the clutch, and Cryptix holds that Baron. Another pump from the shotgun to keep Mystic Academy in the lead, and a roaring success on the second map. It's looking like this series might be an open and shut case.
Arctic starting to demonstrate their frustrations in all chat there, and I would be incredibly frustrated by that series of events, because once again, it's a 4v2 against Mystic Academy. They have an overwhelming man disadvantage and positional disadvantage, and Sonic Boom tosses the round away. The fact that Baron is able to constantly re-peek these angles with a shotgun and attackers that could be in really long-range engagements to prevent the shotgun from doing shotgun-y things close quarters baffles me. Again, small mistakes from Sonic Boom are just costing them. They get carried away in their man advantage. They just almost start to like vibrate in place that they're so nervous, and they just tunnel vision on their execute. They say, I must plant. All right, everybody over by metal portion of dorms. Let's plant together, guys. No, you need one player to plant and the others cover. If you play big window and a very long angle, Baron dies.
Yeah, that's a very easy way to be felled immediately, and just an overall, I think, kind of an overlook for Sonic Boom, which they have had a lot of. Chief, we talked about mistakes, errors, problems, oversights. There have been a number of those style situations for Sonic Boom who are just, I don't want to say less disciplined, but does that seem like the right way to say it? Because they kind of are.
Yes, 100%. They are.
There have been moments where things just, they're in a great spot. If you lose a 4v2, beyond any sort of mitigating circumstances, like a player just went crazy and shot you through the wall or something like that, I call that a lack of discipline.
So, Sonic Boom, they have to address their errors here and now. And Reese, you know that one of the hardest things to do as an IGL is to address your problems during a live match. It's easy to have your coach kind of go after the fact, like retroactively say, all right, you were doing this, and wrong. Now it's on the Sonic Boom IGL to realize that the errors that they were making is being detrimental. And again, Sonic Boom is a very strong team. They have been capable of going toe-to-toe with the Mystic Academy Gunners. It's small errors, and we're seeing somewhat of a change-up in operator lineup. Hixer is now playing the Jackal, and I wonder if that's to help him take map control and be one of the spearheads for the early aggression.
Alrighty, well, the Jaeger was up in T2. He had fallen back. I was worried for a moment there the Jaeger was going to just walk forward. Like, he was just going to peek that because the Finka was shooting through the hatch. I mean, she was totally exposed, practically looking at her toes instead of the opponent who was just moments ahead, who had been red pinged and who was probably being calmed out. For a Basement 1, Mystic Academy have been a little spotty on this so far. They went back and forth. The first attempt was the first round of Oregon. I think Mystic were trying to figure out the playstyle of Sonic Boom. The second time, Mystic cleaned it up, but it was still kind of it wasn't definitive. It wasn't the level of success that I expect from the Basement. Melusi's dead. There was no way she was escaping that. Spy can maybe get the trade? No, it's looking unlikely, though, as he realizes, I'm already on low HP. If I cost my team on another early death that makes this, you know, a 3v5, it's not going to be game over, but I'm Mystic Academy right now, and I want the 5-1 half.
Smoke grenades, denying the laundry portion, and helping Mystic Academy achieve potentially that 5-1 half. Oh, what a beautiful use of the X-Cairo pellets. You have to swing and shoot it, but there's nobody over by laundry, and Baron is fearful of pressure from Freezer. Nonetheless, though, that utility has been removed. A valiant effort, and here comes the proper way of doing so. Break it down with a red canister being shot away by the Twitch drone.
This is really going to help to soften things up here as you see the flashbangs move on forward. The Twitch on the swing. Cryptix guns him down, and oh, look at the LMG light up the kill feed. For 2, the Finka comes alive, but Baron chokes the life out of 1. Shapai on the 416. A smoke canister fills the air, but Baron still holds firm. 2 versus 1. Finka's left alive. She's got 100 health, but only such little time. Smoke rounds the corner. The DBNO, and there's no way the Adrenal Surge will come into effect, actually. Shiro does get into the fight, but playing keep away, Mystic will seal the 5-1 half, dropping only a single round on their opponent's map pick. 2 more rounds, Chief, and we're all done for the evening.
It's been 5 rounds in a row. The last time that we saw a victory for Sonic Boom was back in round number 1 Basement, where they had such a strong attack that it just simply overwhelmed Mystic Academy on that site. Now Mystic Academy, they have so much headroom to maneuver on their attack that they can make a few mistakes here and there and still potentially win this series. With that being said, though, we're going to have to see what it actually means to be a Mystic attacker here on Oregon, because we've yet to see that, Reese.
We just haven't. There have been, I mentioned this on Chalet, just a number of some of those basic level things we haven't had. It's the first game of the season. We're playing a three game single round robin. And while you're thinking it's the first game of the season and you've got a lot more to go, the problem with that is you lose the first game, you lose the second one, yeah, and it starts to kind of roll downhill like that. There's only a slim number of opportunities. It's kind of like a tournament, basically. It's really a short season, a very rapid fire competition that doesn't drag on for too long because it doesn't need to.
Everything seems pretty standard so far here for the Sonic Boom defense. Nothing out of the ordinary. And look what is out of the ordinary on the side of Mystic Academy. Now, to be fair, Sonic Boom did bring out this operator. That was Buck. We saw Hixer play that operator a few rounds ago back in round number 5, and now it's Baron's turn to bring out this operator. And you know what? Let's look at the scoreboard right now. Baron has the most kills on Mystic Academy, and they are the primary support IGL. That's quite impressive for them. They weren't finding many kills on map number 1, but to be fair, they were never in the line of fire because Agra was constantly removing Sonic Boom players from power positions.
Ooh, oh, the air jab looks to barely save him there. And that is a moment of good discipline, Chief. That is playing smart and having it save you from an otherwise costly casualty. And that's going to mean a difficult thing now. Below, holding this out is going to be pretty much impossible. Looks like the defenders aren't even on this first floor anymore. With the one going down, nobody will try to fill and replace this. And that's a scary thing. That can quickly start to roll downhill and can start to pick up speed for the Mystic Academy attack, who are one of those rosters that very easily spots out mistakes that they can exploit. There looks to be a defender creeping through split. However, with one in garage, I imagine there's a cutoff. I'd be surprised to see this Jaeger get around the corner, especially with how passive he's playing. The Sledge was ready for it. Shiro, though, as he rotates back around, he gets killed by Cryptics. Again, more signs of good siege being played. Refrags are there, and they don't let a mistake get too out of hand.
Oh no, not again. It's the nades from below. They're so terrifying. And when you incorporate the gun barrels of Mystic Academy into that equation, it becomes a lot for Sonic Boom to overcome. 2 of those defenders left in sight. Both of them are Nitro Cell wielders, but only one of them left. That's going to be Hixer's Mira Window Nitro. And well, Baron, in very awkward plan, tries to be safe around the reinforcement. Their forehead was spotted, and now the diffuser's in a terrible position. And Baron was a player with a skeleton key, so it's not like you're able to come underneath and remove that position. Candle with the last nade could have done so. Finally, Zach is dead, but traded out by the Nitro. And there's Mystic Academy concluding that round victory. Boy, oh boy, it was almost a potential another 2v4 overcoming like we saw Mystic Academy do, but Sonic Boom unable to do so. My friend, match point, series point, here we come.
Well, you draw to that evidence there, the 2v4 we had earlier in the game. I'll reference the final round of the first map where Candle clutched up a 1v1 that almost had become a 3 versus 1 clutch for the defender. And Candle, again, proving to be a player who doesn't miss crucial shots, who isn't feeling pressured, who is able to survive in a crucial moment like that. And 6-1. As we say, Candle's trusty play puts him on to match point, and it allows us to get to this position. The first map was 7-3. Chalet known to be one of Mystic Academy's best, and I certainly agree with that assessment after having seen them there for the first time today. Oregon proving to be even better. Now, is that a Mystic Academy thing? Is that a Sonic Boom thing? I'm not really the one to judge, but I think we have a very clear difference in playstyles, and this match the Mystic Academy have played better through.
One thing that I think we can judge is the fact that we're turning back to dorms. Now, Sonic Boom has to go with a flawless rotation, which means they're going to have to win basement, they're going to have to win the tertiary bomb site, one of the sister sites of kitchen, and technically they would have to win dorms at one more point, but if I was on the side of Sonic Boom, I would want to go to a new bomb site. Maybe they're going to try to do something different, play more focused down below in kitchen, but Reese, I'm not comfortable seeing dorms back-to-back.
And yeah, I know you have a very strongly held position on teams that have tried the other primary objectives and just refuse to go to the tertiary objective. And I would say this is kind of a moment that fits into that narrative. If you win this round, if you win this round, there's still a lot more. You're going to have to play the tertiary objective eventually. And I just don't think it's going to be top to be successful. I think Sonic Boom, while they came close, Mystic Academy are the kind of team that's not going to make the same mistake that allows you to get it close twice. They're going to improve. They're going to call the adaptations. And look at this little sneaky play from Cryptics. Candle has to be careful not to foul this up, though. There's the Nook on the step through. A different way of clearing out the vertical extension below, but that is an adaptation if I've ever seen one.
Oh, I was watching that happen. I was like, please, Sonic Boom, look behind you. There's a ghost. The Phantom strikes again, though. Zach is off the board, and Sonic Boom has been in this scenario once before, Reese, haven't they? A man disadvantage, a terribly ill-advised sprint, Hixer now falls, it's all left on the 2 on the bomb side, and the nade barrage is still in pocket. We might be moments away of wrapping up this series. It's going to require an incredible comeback for Sonic Boom, and you know what? They might certainly be able to, but they're going to have to start to win their gunfights now. It's just Plant left in this 1v5, being swung from multiple angles, and the drop shot from Cryptix and the 4K from them will wrap up week number 1, the Monday broadcast here in CCL.
Well, quite a punctual first day of Siege here in Group Number A from the 2022 season of CCL, and Mystic Academy showing to all comers that they're going to be a team to certainly be feared as one of the potential top seeds coming out of this group. 7-1 on Oregon, a 7-3 on Chalet, leaving no questions.
Wow, did you see the scoreboard there? Shapai and Aggro were the top frags of map number 1 and the bottoms of map number 2. Interesting. One of the points I had the exit of map number 1 Chalet was the ability of Mystic to play together as a team and do team activities to overcome a map and overcome the defense. Honestly, that is, well, emulated in that scoreboard, showing that everybody is capable of clicking heads when they are needed to. And whether or not it was a Nook flanking in from behind or it was grenades from below, Mystic Academy was truly the better team in this matchup. And Sonic Booms is like that close. They are so close to going toe-to-toe to Mystic, but they just need to remove the mistakes from their play, and they need to be a little bit more diligent with the decisions they're making.
Well, it's funny you mention that, because on the previous map of Chalet, it was about halfway through when the game was still kind of close. It was like 3-2 favor Mystic. I was looking at the scorecards between the two rosters. Mystic were fairly even spread. They had that, 5, 4, 4, 3, 2. They were all kind of in a similar position with regards to kills. It was kind of more heavily stacked when you looked on the other side to Sonic Boom. They had, sure, some great players who played well today, but they didn't play a good enough team game, and that's as simple as I can put it for why they failed to get to map 3 and failed to win the series.
Reese, my friend, it's been a pleasure casting with you as always, and what a great start to CCL. I want to quickly take this moment to thank our producer Brandon, Nova, our observer, Lord Gubakis, and all the admin team here at CCL. Fear not, friends, we'll be back with you guys on Wednesday for more Rainbow Six Siege broadcasts. See you then.
Hair blow round to the window, singing stupid noise with you. I just wanna get to know ya. I wanna go far to the coast, yeah. I wanna dive first to the ocean. I wanna know all of you. Growing up like a ghost, yeah. I wanna have kids of my own, yeah. And live a life till it's over. But until we do, it's sleeping too long. To know it's sleeping to know. It's sleeping to know. I look at people and I wonder all day, who are you and you are not the one in your way. And then I think about myself and I stayed. I'm a pretty boss, look almost your brain waste. I'm a freak in the sheets, but I got class. I'ma grab an ass if you want it.